Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to reveal the top 10 men's designer fragrances of all time. I'm going to do 10 of the most important, iconic, massively significant fragrances of all time. Stay tuned for this. The intros to my videos have been moved to the back end, the outros, so people don't skip at the beginning. So if you want to see that, it's a great song about my live streams and the need to send super chats. Okay, so let's get stuck into this very quickly first. Code MR, M-I-S-T-E-R, gets you 15% off at myfragrancesamples.com in the USA and Canada. That's the place to get your fragrance samples. I highly recommend them. Link in the description. Okay, so my choices here, we're looking, I'm going to do a follow-up video, maybe where I do my personal favorites, but here I have taken into account the iconicness, the significance of the fragrance, as well as, of course, they're all pretty darn good in their own way. So let's get stuck into it. No particular order, not chronological. Let's grab the first one. Okay, to be honest with you, number one, it has to go in the list, Fahrenheit by Dior, 1988 release. And this was a groundbreaking, unique smell at that time. We had a lot of masculine powerhouse type fragrances that were the kind of the normal thing. We had a lot of aromatic fougères and woody aromatic fragrances that were very green, maybe piney, maybe mossy. And this brought us something, or maybe we had a few kind of citrusy things too, but there wasn't anything at all like this. So Fahrenheit, I've just got a 30ml vintage bottle here. And this mixes violet leaf with leather and a kind of a petroleum vibe, a red hot petroleum, almost burning rubber type of aura about the undertone to this one. There's also something called hawthorn. There's a little bit of citrus in there too. It is a remarkable red-blooded kind of leather jacket, biker type smell. Excellent fragrance. You've probably all smelled this one. It's so unique, it's so incredible, and I believe it's been reformulated to be not so great, and now the modern reformulation is back to a little bit of its former glory, and it lasts quite well in my vintage one, but I can't speak on performance. Fahrenheit has to go in there, 1988 release. What do you think about my picks? Which ones did I leave out? Which ones did you think I put in that were kind of suck? You can let me know in the comments down below. Okay, we're going to go for another total classic. Look, this is not my favorite fragrance, so this is where I am leaning on the iconicness and the significance and giving it the credit, even though it doesn't float my boat massively. You've got to say Acqua di Gio from Giorgio Armani. I think it was a 96 release, 1996, mid-90s anyway. Alberto Marias, one of the early citrus aquatic fragrances, which became very popular in the 90s, along with things like L'Eau de Say and CK1, I guess would be the other one. Yeah, amazing composition in terms of very, very popular, very crowd-pleasing, kind of crisp citruses, herbal tones, and this sea air thing, this kind of cologne or aquatic note accord in there, which is very, very important in the crucial DNA of Acqua di Gio. So really nice, fresh, out of the shower, aquatic kind of smell. Although water doesn't smell of anything, but somehow we kind of get what that means. Okay, so this is a really, really classic, iconic fragrance. It was for some years the most sold men's fragrance in the world. Perhaps not anymore, but it held that title for a long while. And of course, many of us will have smelled it. It really was so prevalent throughout the late 90s and 2000s, and still people love it today. Okay, so we've got two. Going to move on quickly then, and we're going to go for Coros. You have to put Coros in the list of all the Yves Saint Laurents and of all the fragrances of the 80s. This is a no-brainer. 1981 release. It's officially an aromatic fougere, Pierre Bourdon. It is a beast mode type powerhouse masculine fragrance. A modern version, a little bit attenuated, still good, but doesn't quite have the beef of these older versions I'm privileged to own, where you have the silver shoulders on the canister, the bottle there. Okay, so this has really everything under the sun in the note listing. You've got citrusy notes, there's kind of soapiness in there. There are tons of different florals in there. There are woods, there's honey, there's civet. There are animalic notes, so musk and civet have this kind of gnarly undertone. People always talk about a pissy smell. I really don't, if I go in a men's toilet and I do smell the unpleasant smell of piss, I don't think it's the same, but I get what they mean. There is a slightly not chemical, well, it is chemicals, but a chemical that reminds us of bodily smells, bodily odors in it, almost nasty, but kind of an undertone of sexiness. I mean, I don't want to get all detailed, but if you think about things that you might smell during an intimate sexual encounter, there's stuff in there that ain't exactly the most pleasant smell that kind of helps to turn the brain on, I guess, by association. And there's some of that in Coros. Remarkable, manly, powerful, soapy, but dirty at the same time. Powerhouse. Had to be in the list. Easy for me. No dilemma about that one. Next up then, look, I don't like this fragrance. I've got to put it in the list, though. 1 million. Paco Rabanne, 2008 release, and a kind of semi-gourmandish fragrance, okay? It's kind of got an apple note in there, quite a lot of vanilla, a bit of cinnamon and spice. It's got this gaudy gold bar. I don't care for this fragrance, but you have to say it sold tons. It was really, really prevalent. Still is, maybe fading a little bit as people's most popular one, but for a while it was probably one of the biggest sellers, certainly here in the UK and Europe, I think, although maybe not so much in America, I'm not sure, but it was hugely iconic and it has loads of flankers. So you've got to give it to 1 million. It had to go in the list while we're focusing on famous, iconic fragrances. So that's 1 million. Okay, let's move on to the one which really superseded it as the ultimate obvious choice to buy for your husband or boyfriend or whatever. And that is the Sauvage, Dior Savage 2015 release. Many flankers, but the original Eau de Toilette. Okay, so again, it's sort of maybe for the first time in this list. No, Francois Demachy, the perfumer. And officially, it's a fougere, but it's not really. It's a kind of citrus woody smell. It is soapy, it is fresh, it has bergamot, it has lavender, it has tons of ambroxan, which is kind of a synthetic representation of ambergris. Long story, but it's a very, very prevalent accord in modern fragrances. So it's very soapy, bright, fresh, masculine, bit shower gel-esque, very clean. To me, it smells a little synthetic and a little screechy and annoying, but it's so prevalent. We've all smelled it, and it's spawned so many flankers that have been big successes for Dior. So many people love this one. Ladies can often be really, really happy with this one on their husband or significant other. I personally don't care for it, but I had to include it in the list. It's okay, but yeah, it's just I smell it too often. It kind of gets on my nerves. Okay, one more that I don't have, Le Mal, Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Mal, 1994 or 5, I forget which. Francis Kurkdjian, now the man behind Maison Francis Kurkdjian, his own niche line. Amazing. Again, they call it a fougere. It's a barbershop, very powdery fragrance with added sweetness, okay? So you've got a tiny bit of citrus, but it's all about lavender, tonka bean, a little bit hint of mint in there, wormwood. Has this very metrosexual, it's very kind of almost a touch effeminate in the smell. Very powdery, a little bit sweet, kind of barbershop-ish, very, very hugely recognizable. You have to give it credit. Still smells the same today. Some say not as strong as it used to be, but whatever. So you've got to put them out in the list. And let's keep going, okay? So I'm going to give a place in this list to, I think you've got to put this one. I know it's 2 from the same house. 3, no, 3. I don't care. I just picked the best ones. I didn't think only one from each house. I've got to give it to Oud Savage, the original 1966 Oud Savage. Completely different story to Sauvage. And this is a citrus aromatic fragrance from perfumer Edmond Rudnitska. Fantastic crisp bergamot. Beautiful jasmine stroke hedione type note in there. Some green kind of rosemary accords. Beautiful bit of musk, white muskiness, and oak moss and vetiver in the base. It is crisp. It is classy. It is aromatic. It is absolutely classic. The vintage version is a little bit better, but the modern one's still one you must at least go to your department store and try, and maybe have a bottle if you're in your collection if you love it. It's a really classic, timeless citrus aromatic. I much prefer it to modern Sauvage. Eau Savage, Eau de Toilette, still available from the House of Dior. Okay, nothing from Chanel. Well, let's fix that. And Taos, I had to go for one. And Taos was huge. You may not have heard much about it if you're into the hobby more recently. From the 1981 release date on for at least 10, 15 years. Huge fragrance. Apparently it was really, really big in the gay community, okay? Apparently, particularly in America, people in the clubs and stuff are saying this was huge. A lot of the gay people out there were really into wearing this. But whoever you are, it is a fantastic masculine chypre composition, okay? There's some bergamot, there's juniper in there, there's castoreum. It has that similarity to Kouros in that they're both kind of animalic, gnarly notes. Castoreum coming from a beaver's backside. Can you imagine that? And Taos, a little bit of a leatheriness in there as well. Very, very rich, very kind of a mixture of freshness and darkness, perfectly blended with, of course, Chanel's famous jasmine. It's a kind of a powerhouse, but if this is a rugged, very almost unrefined, in a good way, powerhouse, this is a slightly more Chanel-esque, refined powerhouse. It's a real backstreet bruiser dressed up in a tuxedo for the day, if that makes any sense. It's classic. It's really, really, really good stuff. I think we just have one left. It's Polo Green, Ralph Lauren. Huge seller in the 80s. Released in 1978. Carlos Ben-Aim. I think it's a chypre officially. So very green, piney and mossy. Little twist of tobacco in there, but it's a very fresh green, kind of bitter tobacco. Very rugged, green, piney, mossy, old-fashioned. Not for everybody at all, but it is really, really unique. This one, you do need the vintage version. I've got one more. Polo green, fantastic, very strong. You do need the vintage of that one. And sadly, this one too. Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme, 1994 release. The Made in Italy version, you need. The modern one's still worth trying, but the Made in Italy vintage one was amazing. Euro Italia. So this has beautiful citrus, aromatic accords, some greenness. It has a mandarin orange thing in there. A little hint, again, of a synthetic tobacco. Completely different version of tobacco accords than the Polo green. Just very, very beautiful, fresh, balanced. You can wear this any situation. So for me, a couple of real favorites. Oud Savage for citrus aromatic. This one for a kind of citrus woody, a little bit more rugged. No, not rugged, but a little bit more of, it just has, fits the same bill as this kind of thing. It just has a twist of tobacco and just its own unique magic. Those are my selections. Check them out and let me know what you think about my list. I'm going to do a follow-up on my personal favourites based more on my personal prejudices. A couple of these will make it in, but a few of them won't. Let me know what you thought of the list. I love you guys. We'll see you in the next video. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. And sometimes, unfortunately, life may suck, but at least we can always smell good. Here's that song. Don't forget, watch my live streams every Monday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And if it's worth saying in the comments, it's worth super chatting. See you next time, guys. Bye.
Send money now. Super chats are what we need. Send money now. This has nothing to do with greed. I'm doing this for the community. You know how much that means to me. So come on, baby, come on over. Let me be the one to show you. I'm the one who wants a super chat from you. I'm the one you need to send it to. Just type out your comment and put it through. I'm the one who needs pounds and dollars from you.
I'm a human. I fucking live in this horrible materialistic world, and you know what? I fucking need money to keep going. This money helps me out of a fucking hole. But I gotta tell you, man, you need a Rolex. It's what's missing in your life. A Rolex.
I'm the one who wants a super chat from you. I'm the one you need to send it to. Just type out your comment